What's up, YouTube? It's your friendly neighborhood GM, your host, Coach Key, and welcome to Legends and Dice Cafe, where we learn about tabletop RPGs from old school to modern, and do lots and lots of solo gameplay and GM tips. Back with my weekly video like I do on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today's video is courtesy of our Patreon supporters who voted on this week's video, which will be okay, we got it right this time. I'm going to show you guys how to play D&D 5th edition solo. Now, they do have plenty of 5th edition solo games on DriveThruRPG, which is where I get a lot of my books from. And there's also a book, DM Yourself, which shows you how to run pre-written modules solo. But I'm going to show you a different way, similar to the last video I did. But today we're going to focus strictly on creating an adventure and solo play for 5th edition. So, and again, if you'd like to further support the channel beyond what you already do, hop on over to Patreon and subscribe to Legends and Dice Cafe. Boom. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Let's go. We're going to build an adventure, or the start of an adventure, of a solo campaign using 5th edition for your rule set, character creation, and all that good jazz, okay? I have 2 character sheets out. I think that I honestly would prefer to play 4 characters, but today we'll start off with 2. Okay, we'll figure those out in a few minutes. I'm going to show you guys a few things that I put together as I was brainstorming for this video. So I did figure out what kind of adventure I was wanting to go on and a few of the tables that I might need. And I also found some new inspiration for other tables from a few of my favorite games. So for this adventure, I was thinking something along the lines of like a pirate, maybe an underwater cave. I kind of wanted to start in a village, and I was thinking maybe the NPC, one of our missions can be to grab a map from the NPC inside of this particular village. And he has the map. And I was also thinking maybe we wouldn't necessarily know whether he was good or bad. We could possibly roll for that. So that will be a surprise. And I was thinking one of the things that I do like about Dragonbane's solo adventure is it has different points inside of it, and they're called waypoints. I think they're called waypoints. That where you know the information, you know, like say for instance, you know what's going to be in this particular room of a dungeon, and then it also has other areas that are unknown, and on those areas you roll for it. I like that idea, so I think that I'm gonna keep that. So I figured for the known locations that we already know what they are, we're going to call them, I'm sure you guessed it, key points. I thought that was pretty good. Let me show you a few of the tables that I was thinking that we'll probably need for this adventure. I was also thinking about putting a few tables together for adventures and sharing them on the Patreon. If that's something that you guys like, if you are interested in that, drop it in the comments. So let me show you a few of my tables that we're going to use to create our solo campaign. So this was me brainstorming, so it looks like a whole bunch. I'm going to cover one page so it doesn't look like, you know, boom. So here we are right here. These are a few of the list of the tables. Room contents or location contents. A table for traps. A table for NPCs, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for NPCs. Treasure, we're going to pull some of that out of maybe the Dungeon Master's Guide or Xanathar's Guide or even Tasha's Cauldron. And a list of places in town. I'm using my solo adventures to help flesh out and help to create my world, Ashratu, that I'm currently working on or have been working on. Cairn is currently in one of the land masses or one of the continents. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to call it yet. So one of the territories in Ashratu, so far I have maybe 5 locations. So one of the locations, the land masses, is called Shing Su, and Cairn is taking place in a small village called Sintu. And so I'm thinking maybe this one can also be maybe start inside of, we'll do a town and we'll name that town Kinsuni. So we could start with our characters, but we don't necessarily have to start with our characters. I do know I would like a cleric on the team, but I was also thinking there were some other characters that I have not played before, so I think I may try someone new. So we're gonna start off, we're gonna probably create a map similar to this right here. This is my Karen map. I've also drawn this into my tablet, and you can purchase this if you want another way to support the channel. I'm selling my maps on Patreon. I have 2 up so far. Every month I'm going to upload 2. One is going to definitely be one of my hand-drawn maps. This map is currently on sale on Patreon, so check them out. And that's also the second tier that I've also added up there as well. Every month you'll have, along with everything you get in tier 1, you will also get 2 free key original maps every single month. So, but again, you don't have to sign up for Patreon to purchase the maps. You can just purchase them from Patreon. But yeah, so we're gonna create a map similar to this. Well, I'm gonna create a map similar to this. If you want to follow along, you can do that as well, and you can use all of these ideas as well. That's why it's up here too. And I'm going to number each location like the same way that I did in my Cairn, or the same way that I'm doing in my Cairn solo. I'm going to number each location, and as we move from location to location, we're going to roll on our different tables to see exactly what it is that we encounter within these different spots. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to make it a town or a village map, but I want to keep it simple, so maybe we'll just stick with a village. So we're going to start creating our tables, and that's how we're going to do our adventure. So first I'm going to create a list of different locations. All right, so what I did was I went to Google and I found, it looks like this is it's called the alchemistcircle.com. And I just Googled things that you would find in a D&D town. So we've got the town hall, a temple, an inn, a tavern, a market. It's a good idea. The blacksmith, arcane shop, the guild hall, a library, training ground. Sounds pretty dope too. The arena, stables, a graveyard. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna put graveyard down real quick. Yeah, so I like graveyard. I typically would want a tavern. I'm thinking an inn. I was thinking a psychic, a medium. I don't know what I'm gonna do or how I'm gonna do that, but I just thought it would be a good idea. I was just thinking about that. Equipment supply, so I guess that would kind of be like maybe the market, a temple, somebody's like random home, a graveyard. I just saw a jail on here too. I like that. I like the idea of an arena as well. So I'm gonna put arena down here. And I also just found this right here, because we're all doing that. We're putting everything together right now. So it's cartographersguild.com, and they had a few different things. Let me see. Having a random table where I know exactly what type of NPC we're running into. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Oh, and library, which we found on the Google list. All right, so for locations, we'll roll a D12. We've got a tavern, an inn, psychic, medium, equipment, supplies, kind of market, temple, someone's random home that's being occupied, a graveyard, a jail, an arena, a library, a spot so we can gamble, because why not, right? And an abandoned home. So if we do run into the abandoned home, maybe we can turn that into our spot. So yeah, so we've got a list of locations. So, and the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into the random encounters. I'm gonna keep that super simple, and I'm gonna show you what I'm using for inspiration, games that I already play. And so far, 2 of my favorite games, they both have some really cool tables inside of them. This has a lot of different expansions and supplements, and great for inspiration, great for inspiration in your own games. I love these games. Both of them are fantastic. With inspiration from my favorite books, the next thing we're going to do is create the encounters what we're going to encounter inside of these different areas. Now, we're also going to have a yes and no charts. I personally would have yes and no charts, so that way I can kind of flesh things out even more. So, say for instance, because I think, like I said, we're going to start off in this village or in this town, and we're probably going to take a boat, of course, further into sea, so we can find this underwater cave. So I was thinking along the way, we can easily look to the right or to the left and ask, well, do I see anything? Is there any land? Do we see anything? Yes. Okay. Well, do we see like a building or something? So that's when I would use those yes or no. And the next thing we're going to do is create our list of encounters or area contents. Now, again, I'm going to using my favorite books that I just showed you as far as inspiration when it comes to different encounters that we're going to come upon. I think mainly I use some inspiration from this right here. Put this down right here. So for the encounters, so say for instance, we're walking along our path and we hit maybe this location right here. We would roll on this encounter table and see exactly what it is that we encounter when we hit that specific area. And we roll a 5, we would do a monster. Oh, and they also separated. So I have 2 monster lists on here. I have monster A, I have monster A and monster B. So if I hit this 5 right here, it's going to be the lower level, a list of lower level monsters that we'll have to come in contact with, like maybe minions and stuff like that. So the monster A will be a higher, more difficult. And I also put like the treasure chest. Say for instance, if it's locked, then the DC is going to be 15. You can change that DC to whatever you want. So we've got the treasure chest, an NPC, a monster from list A, a trap. We'll figure out how we're going to do those traps as well. We're probably going to have to beat like a DC. It'll be different types of traps. So those different types of traps will have to be different types of DCs. So we've got the monster B, the lower level. We've got a blessed fountain. The blessed fountain, I was thinking, can go 2 different ways. It can possibly be corrupted because all the things that maybe because of something that might be going on in town. So I was thinking maybe if we run into it, it can either heal us or it can do damage to us or trap us. I was thinking about that. So if you have any ideas, drop it in the comments, because it's definitely going to be a part 2 of this right here. So we're just going to start this off with part 1. So then we've got a cursed altar. And inside of 4 Against Darkness, I'm going to show you, because their blessed fountain, you get to heal if you come upon that. Let's see. So for their cursed altar, so once you enter a room, it says an eerie glow emanates from a sinister altar. A random character is cursed and is now negative on his like defense roll. So he could possibly be get like a negative on different types of rolls. But again, we'll play with that and we'll finish our tables in part 2. So, and then we've got the statue. The statue in 4 Against Darkness, in the actual core books, I don't know if there are more statues and more random tables inside of these books because they have so many different books. But in the core books, for the statue, you have the choice on whether to touch it or not. So, and if you do touch it, you're gonna roll. I think you roll a d6, and on a 1 to 3, this happens, and then on a 4 to 6, this particular thing happens. So I was like, that's a pretty decent idea. And then we have a special event. I'm going to create a special event table. I'm thinking of going through the Dungeon Master guide. We'll pull that out and see if it has any tables for something like that. I threw NPC down there one more time, so I have more of a chance to run into some people that I can chit chat with, role play with myself, and then a magical item. So that's what we got for our encounter tables. So we're actually going to change one of the monsters. We're going to change that to a puzzle. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to make that happen so that it'll be a surprise, but it'll just probably be a lot of different types of rolling and stuff. So I'm going to erase one and add puzzle. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick one of these right here, and we're going to go ahead and create some tables for each one of these. We'll start with the NPCs, only because I'm going to show you, and this is a gift courtesy of a new friend of mine and one of our Patreon supporters, Robin. She sent a few different items, which I'm going to share with you guys in a different video, but let me show you what we're going to use today. Check this out. NPC Portraits deck, Coastal Townsfolk. And it is a bunch of different cards in here. a nice diversity of different types of NPCs that you would run into. And I think we're gonna use these. Let's see. Let's look at this one. It gives you the personality. It gives you their quirks. It gives you the need, a secret, leverage, and background. These are so cool. I'm not exactly sure where to get them from, but I'll find that information. These are awesome. So we're gonna use these for our NPCs. So we don't even need a table for our NPCs. We're just gonna shuffle through these cards and then figure out exactly what we come upon. But I do wanna make sure I write down the morale, because we're not gonna always run into friendly and kind people. Dungeon Master Guide has information on there as far as NPCs. You can find NPCs, random NPCs on Google. And these books are amazing. I have a few of these and I use a couple of them. I've used this a few times. Sometimes I just keep it open during my games so I can just pull in random NPCs when they come upon them and stuff. But this is really fantastic. Whether it's for a game master, or I guess you would be considered a play master, because technically you are the game master of your game as well. But yeah, these are really great books. This particular book, I really like this as well. I like all of them, to be honest, but this one, since we're speaking about NPCs, so you would do a list of different types of different NPCs, different names, different traits of them, personality, and maybe the way that they actually look would be very helpful. I'm going to use these cards because I have some. So if you've got some, I would absolutely use the cards. All right, so we've got our NPCs knocked out. I have the morale. I have a D6, hostile, friendly, indifferent, curious, weary, helpful. And if we get to helpful, I think that's when we'll roll on the chart that has some, we'll have a chart for information or a table for information that we know, but our characters do not know. And I also went ahead and did a chart for the DC. So let's say, for instance, if you run into a treasure, to see what type of level, if you want to see what type of level the lock is to enter a lock, whether it's on a treasure chest or for a house or a temple or for whatever. So we can randomly roll on this DC and that'll let us know how high that DC is going to be in order for us to hit it. So we can always make it bigger, but if you want to randomize it, this is one good way. Next thing we'll do is let's go ahead and create a list of monsters. I'm going to pull the monsters out of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. You can use the monster manual. You can adjust their AC and their hit points however you see fit, so that they don't end up killing your party too early. But I'm going to use Xanathar's Guide. It even has a list. Let me show you. So we're going to use the urban encounters inside of Xanathar's Guide. Now this is what I was going to say. It's broken down in levels 1 to 4. And then 5 to 10. 11 to 16. And 17 to 20. Just in case you were curious. Just in case you possibly wanted to start your characters off at a different level. Xanathar's Guide is pretty cool. It also has a lot of options for players as well. So yeah, so we're going to just pull a bunch of different ones out of here and just write them down. And that's going to be our monsters list that we're going to come upon. All right, so we've got our monsters that I pulled out of Xanathar's Guide. And you can easily find the monster stats. So if you wanted to just use the table, that I'm creating right here. So I have 1d6 cats, 1d6 plus 2 rats, 1d4 ghouls, 2d4 kenku, 1 mage, 2d4 thugs, 3d6 kobolds, 2d8 sturges, 1d8 skeletons, 1 assassin, a shadow, or 1d4 giant spiders. And we're going to roll a d12. So boom, we've got our monsters, so we can take A out. We're on our way to creating our story. I think maybe we'll create our characters on the next go. So we'll do this in a few different parts, so that way you can actually see. So you can see me creating the charts, and then you can see me actually playing and using these charts. Some of it's going to be corrected while we're actually playing or while you're playing, which is super cool. Learning through experience, I think, is the best. We've got our monsters, we've got our NPCs, we even have a chart for our We have a chart for our difficulty classes for different things that we'll use. I think I'm going to start at level 1 for the characters. We've got our location table so far. So the only thing that we're going to do is finish creating the tables for each of these areas. And then we're going to go ahead and start our journey. So let's see, what we've got next is, I'm thinking probably 4 characters. What do you guys think? I'm thinking 4 characters for this adventure. So let me know what you guys think. I'm probably going to do 4 characters. So the next thing, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pause there. All right, so I also added for our yes and no, a D4. We'll do yes for 1, 2, yes, but we'll be creative on what could possibly happen. So when you play solo this way, you definitely have to be creative. If I were to give you one piece of advice when playing solo, my main advice would be to not overthink things. Sometimes we get caught up in our head so much that it just kind of blocks everything out. So don't let that happen. Think less and play more, I would suggest. Okay, so boom, we've got our list of tables. All right, so here we are so far. So we've got our location, we've got our encounters table, we've got our NPCs, our monsters, and we're just gonna keep going down the list and creating the tables, like for a magic item, for treasure, list for traps. And I'm thinking I'm going to probably take some traps out of Xanathar's guide as well, because it has a bunch of different tables or traps inside of there as well. And I'm also thinking because inside of the town, I don't want to battle like the boss. We'll probably do that inside of the cave underwater. You know what? And before we pause the video, let me come up with let's do some brainstorming and add a little bit more onto, so pirates, water, underwater, cave, dungeon. All right, so I've come up with, there is a fog that descends upon the town, causing a curse. I haven't figured out what happens to the people. I was thinking maybe they turn into some type of dangerous beings at nighttime. And I was thinking maybe the townspeople, they think that there's a cave under the water that is the source, or the inhabitants maybe, and within that cave are the source of this particular curse. So that's where I've gotten so far, and that's exactly where I'm gonna pause. So if you guys have any ideas or you want to add on to the story, drop it in the comments. We can create an epic adventure together. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch the video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you guys next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And send you guys lots and lots of good vibes, lots of positive vibes. I'll talk to you guys later.